Hello, Explore Mindset family. Welcome to the Explore Mindset YouTube channel. Whether you're passionate about 15 sign you are poor, or just looking for 15 sign you are poor, you've come to the right place. On this channel, we briefly describe what viewers can expect: entertainment, education, inspiration, etc. Each video is crafted with love. I am happy to have you join our growing community. Presently, this video is intended to be a reminder and a rude awakening. Do what you need with that. Just to explain a couple of things before we start, there are levels to this. We won't discuss they're extremely poor with no admittance to water or food. We will take a gander at current civic establishments and how to let know if you're truly rich despite the fact that you live in a created country. Each time we do one of these recordings, some piece of the web creeps out and gets irritated on the off chance that you're one of these effortlessly annoyed. This is your prompt to leave the video. Truly go on. There are lots of different recordings out there that will support anything that convictions you as of now have that are totally quite sensitive. This isn't one of them. We based the whole of this video on the unpolished truth of daily existence. Our recommendation is for you to go through this video, take a few notes, and find in which parts of your life there's opportunity to get better. Make a move concerning those things and make it access. So the following are 15 signs you're poor. Number 1. Assuming you quit working. You were unable to keep up with your way of life for over 90 days. This is presumably the most straightforward method for figuring out how well you're doing regardless of how much cash you're procuring for reasons unknown. Assuming you quit working without modifying your way of life, how long would you make it in light of the manner in which you have your life set up right now? 1 year, a half year, 1 month? Not exactly that. By and large, you need more cash set aside up or money stream coming into basically keep up with your way of life for a considerable length of time. You're considered for this. Reality could hit you like a block and divulge exactly the way in which delicate your financial solidness is. Correct. Now everyone needs security against most pessimistic scenario situations, and the way that you don't have one leaves you weak. The magnificence of this 3-month check is it doesn't make any difference on the off chance that you make 60K a year or 10 million in time you've gained fixed costs and your way of life includes some significant downfalls. The method for tackling this is to really crunch the numbers on what your typical month-to-month expenses are and save doing 3 months ahead, or make adequate optional floods of pay that are not impacted by your capacity to work or not. Models are land loans, sovereignties for protected innovation, or being a minority proprietor in another person's business. Number 2. It takes you over 1 hour to get to work. How frequently have you heard the idiom time is cash? Well, it's false in light of the fact that you could continuously get more cash flow, yet you can't basically until further notice purchase additional time. The possibility that you're squandering enormous lumps of your life progressing starting with 1 point then on to the next with practically no useful result is stunning to us. You ought to take the necessary steps to get yourself as near function as conceivable, so the free time you would spend going to work can be effectively utilized. We should figure it out. Assuming it takes you 1 hour to get to work and 1 more to get back, that is 2 hours out of each day that you spend in rush hour gridlock, flying off the handle aimlessly. Individuals exchanging between paths without flagging, that is 10 hours of the week, 520 entire hours of the year. Assuming you stalled at 520 in 2 days, you'll find there are 21 entire days that you're spending in rush hour gridlock consistently. Yet let that hit home for a smidgen. On the off chance that you really want to rehash the numbers or crunch the numbers yourself, you'll be stunned by what amount of time is squandered. Suppose you can require for those days and accomplish something useful. Well, the rates use it to get more extravagant while you're sitting in your vehicle standing by listening to the very 8 tunes that get played again and again consistently. Number 3. You have bills you battle with or can't bear to pay. This is one more beautiful, clear method for telling you're struggling monetarily and that you want to stir yourself up and get going. In the event that you have at any point gotten the lights removed, you need more credit to settle on a telephone decision, or you basically don't have the assets to cover the bills coming your direction. You've extended yourself excessively flimsy and qualify as poor, despite the fact that it happens generally in the situations where somebody isn't bringing in sufficient cash. We've witnessed it to superstars. Assuming you've watched our 15 crazy things rich individuals did video, you can look at it in the upper right corner. You'll realize that Johnny Depp is in huge monetary emergency due to this. Regardless of bringing in large cash at one point, he couldn't $2 million a month charges, which is compelling him to sell a portion of his assets. Yet we should hit you up briefly. How could you end up in this position? Don't realize? Well, you most likely have an unfortunate comprehension on how the world functions. You work a low-paying position since you set practically no focus on fostering an important range of abilities, and in any event, When you get the cash you've procured, you use it to purchase futile things. Simply kick back briefly and contemplate the number of individuals that have a costly telephone and no credit, or the number of individuals that have a costly vehicle and nevertheless live with their folks, no doubt. Number 4. You shop the dollar store, use coupons oftentimes. Or on the other hand, purchase things marked down since they're on special despite the fact that you don't require them. Okay, there's no disgrace in being a financial plan customer, yet with minimal expenditure comes minimal quality. The end product tends to reflect its price. Things that are modest break all the more effectively and should be supplanted. Again, there's no disgrace in attempting to get a rebate on something that you truly need, yet pay attention to this and kindly focus, since this is truly significant. No one turned into a very rich person by setting aside cash. I should say that again, no one turned into a tycoon by setting aside cash. They generally centered around continually expanding their pay and utilized their money to make more money. Currently contemplate yourself how often you strolled into the store and purchased a thing that you truly didn't require on the grounds that it was statement. Number 5. Cheap food is satisfactory supper food. All the time. We've discussed this previously and we generally get reaction from you all. Nothing bad can be said about eating cheap food sometimes. However, nourishment is a vital piece of your life. It's in a real sense the fuel of the machine you call your body. Your capacity to think imaginatively, concoct arrangements, further develop your world. Everything begins from your actual state. In the event that your body's not beneficial, your efficiency levels drop, your dynamic cycle is lingering behind, and subsequently you fail to meet expectations in all parts of your life. There is something else to food besides inexpensive food. Number 6. You needed to express no to your child whenever he needed a normal cost toy, since you were unable to manage the cost of it. This isn't tied in with ruining their children. We could continue endlessly for a long time about the effect of legitimate nurturing. This specific point has to do with your monetary circumstance. On the off chance that you were ever in the position where you would have needed to purchase your kid the toy he needs, however you essentially couldn't bear the cost of it, you ought to acknowledge you're doing ineffectively. It's not necessary to focus on the thing, it's about the actual demonstration. As a parent, you believe your kid should encounter satisfaction. Next one. Number 7. You are terrified that your life will influence your children. Odds of coming out on top. This most likely strikes a chord with a ton of battling guardians. Assuming you're terrified that your ongoing reality will adversely affect your kids' odds of coming out on top. You're poor. Again, this could likewise apply as somebody who brings in a great deal of cash. Being poor doesn't generally come from an absence of assets in your records, so in light of the fact that you have a major compensation, doesn't mean you can't be a needy individual. As guardians, you wish that your kid will carry on with a preferable life over you did growing up, and there's consistent battle in your subconscious that you're not doing what's necessary for the person in question. You need to offer your kid the most. Number 8. You don't have clean clothing and socks consistently. These are fundamentals, and as we've referenced before, your powerlessness to have even the most essential things as a piece of your daily routine means you're experiencing underneath the standard. It likewise has a great deal to do with your fundamental cleanliness, and assuming that you've watched our video 15 things that needy individuals do which the wealthy don't, you presumably recollect the effect it has on your possibilities bettering yourself. You can look at it on the upper right corner of our channel. You don't need to purchase costly clothing or a specific brand, however do yourself the blessing and keep a perfect presence. It's perhaps the earliest thing to do in the event that you wish to get away from destitution. Number 9. You have an enslavement. It doesn't make any difference how much cash you're procuring. Assuming something controls you, a rich man is a liberated person. Albeit the bondage days are behind us, your life may as yet be constrained by synthetic substances or organizations that strive to ensure you stay dependent. Things as little as smoking endangers your well-being. We could go on and on all day about drinking or hard medications. Life ought to be fun and lived flawlessly. You need to live, as far as might be feasible, as solid as possible, so you can appreciate it however long it endures. It's an obvious fact that the rich live longer than the poor. For this situation, you won't be poor monetarily, yet you could burn through 10 or more years short of what another person. Number 10. Your home sense entertaining. Okay, we truly didn't have any desire to go into these on the grounds that it's really clear. Hello, assuming your home sense like constantly, you're unfortunate. It's absolutely impossible to get around it. Needy individuals live in awful neighborhoods. Crime percentages go up. The normal capability of the area is low. In light of the fact that, as you probably are aware, you're the normal of the 5 individuals you invest the most energy with. You take a gander at individuals around you, and their homes suck. So how could you trouble to further develop yours? That's the reason the unfortunate stay poor. Number 11, your vehicle is 10 or more years old. Basic and simple, your vehicle is too old. It requires consistent upkeep, and it doesn't give you enough security on the off chance that anything happens. A quality car extends your life expectancy, as well as in a real sense permits you to go further in life. This is likely one of the last things you ought to fix. However, assuming you obtain a sizable sum of wealth, except if you're an Uber driver, your vehicle isn't a resource, it's a cost. You really want to fix your outlook and your schooling first, and afterward towards the end, update your vehicle. Number 12, you anticipate that the public authority should deal with you after you resign. Oh dear, we will get such a lot of kickback in light of this. Destitute individuals generally anticipate that others should deal with their own concerns. You see it all the time on the news where individuals put themselves in terrible circumstances, then, at that point, fault the public authority for not aiding them out. On the off chance that you're hanging tight for Donald Trump or any legislator or government to make you rich, you're completely crazy. There are such countless individuals in every country that you as an individual don't make any difference for the political machine, and they care very little about you as an individual. The public authority manages the majority, and despite the fact that they could address a deficiency of supply in a locale or pass regulations that help the economy in others, by the day's end, you must cause the best out of the truth you have been managed. The standards of the game could change, lawmakers will travel every which way. Your prosperity shouldn't rely upon them. If not, you don't actually merit it. Number 13, you burn through cash before you get it. This by itself is one of the primary reasons destitute individuals stay poor. Venturing into the red, having to continually pay old obligations, is holding you back from taking the jump forward. We've seen such countless individuals do this, and it's stunning that they don't understand what they're doing. To get rich or possibly advance your monetary circumstance, you want to figure out how to deal with your cash, how to control its effect upon your life. Cash ought to be utilized for security, to safeguard yours and your family's well-being, solace, way of life, and in some cases even satisfaction. On the off chance that you end up in the circumstance, the principal thing you ought to do is to dispose of the obligation, then prevent yourself from straying into the red again. It will be so difficult, yet definitely worth the effort. How frequently have you heard somebody say, on the off chance that I could excel, and afterward you see them burn through cash on futile things or use MasterCards to purchase an extravagant new television? The second you utilize your charge card to purchase something that doesn't produce a positive return, practically everything you're going to do constantly you set forth and all the hard energy has a place with the organization or individual you credited from. They own your time until you repay them. Number 14, you take Wi-Fi power link or on the other hand use deluges for films and music. Don't get us wrong, you really want to do how you really want to further develop your insight, your abilities, and fortunately, the web is loaded up with important data that can give you a lift towards your objectives. Yet, taking in any structure is something we peer downward on. On the off chance that you can't bear to pay for any of those things, an obvious indicator you're poor, and you'll have to comprehend that. Utilize the information you gather to try sincerely and get yourself on the right half of the table. Number 15, you don't have a caring family. There could be no more prominent wealth than having a caring family. It doesn't make any difference the amount of cash you possess. In the event that you don't get to invest energy with your children, if when you nod off, you don't snuggle with somebody you love and feel that they love you back, you're poor. If a large portion of the things referenced before had to do with monetary assets, this one has to do with the close-to-home ones. Having a caring family that upholds you, that has faith in you, and is there for you is unquestionably strong. In the event that you have your folks still alive, you don't have the foggiest idea how rich you are. These are things that individuals underestimate and understand their worth solely after they're detracted from them. Don't be one of those individuals. Rather, invest time with your children, ensure they transform into unbelievable people, invest time with your folks, and really pay attention to them.